So Argentina is pretty chill. When you're talking in the Neuquen area, the Buenos Aires area is a lot different. That's a pretty crazy area. But especially the areas that they're going to put sisters in, they're not going to be super crazy areas. I served in 3 areas. I never felt threatened or worried or anxious in any way. There were definitely areas that the members would suggest not to go into, especially after dark or at certain hours. You'll kind of get a feel for that. Being missionaries, I think you're definitely protected, which doesn't mean you should be ignorant either. So you want to keep that balance. You can't just say, Heavenly Father is going to protect me and I'm going to walk around with all these valuables and it'll be fine. So just make sure that you aren't carrying a lot of valuables, aren't carrying a lot of money, not a ton of fancy jewelry, just so you're not calling a ton of attention, and you'll be fine. There were areas that the members told us to watch out for were like apartments, complexes that were really tight together, and it kind of turns into a maze when you're in there, just for the fact that you wouldn't know how to get out, really. But we still went in there. I mean, we went in and visited certain people. We definitely didn't track to door in those areas. I don't think that would have been really great, but we went in and visited the members there, had some investigators in those areas, and we definitely went in and went out. Definitely walk like you have a purpose. If you're moseying around, that's definitely more, or acting distracted, then that's more of a signal for somebody to be like, hey, that might be easy to grab this from them. So just be smart. Always pray to have the Spirit with you. Pray to be protected. I think in some ways I knew that I was protected because my dad was praying for me. That's one thing that I always felt, because he always talked about that growing up, like a safety kid, like be a deer in the meadow. That might be dumb, but, just taught us those things. And so I always felt that added protection from the prayers. You'll feel that. I mean, you have thousands of people praying for you as a missionary, and you'll feel that. There's a power and a strength in that. But don't be too worried about it. Listen to your companion, especially if she's Latin and she's understanding what people are saying, because you probably don't. Funny story with that. There was one time we were contacting, and there was this guy, and we had come up and said, hey, we're missionaries, and he was kind of looking at me like, ooh, and it was my first area. I had no idea what he was talking about, and I just was smiling and friendly, like, hi, yeah. So she was talking with them, and he would kind of look at me and talk to me, and I was like, oh, see? Yes, like saying yes, oh, see, yes, and all this stuff, and just like la la la. And then we left, and my companion was like, did you know what he was talking about? And I was like, no, I have no idea. He was nice. And she was like, he wanted to marry you. And I was like, really? And you said yes. And so I was like, really? I did. And she's like, yeah. And he said, do you want to get married right now? And you said yes. So just be careful too when you're saying things. Don't say yes. Say something else, like, oh, really? Come up with those few words when you're talking to people you have no idea what they're talking about. Because you could be saying yes to marrying somebody and you didn't know. So they would tease me that I had a husband there in Argentina. So that was funny, just as you're contacting different people.